Welcome to another edition of the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast. I'm your host, Vickie Remoe, producer, writer, and a woman on a mission to make Sierra Leone famous for the right reasons. On today's edition of the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast, we are getting serious about addiction, specifically drug and alcohol addiction in Sierra Leone. When I was growing up in Sierra Leone, one of the earliest public service announcements that I remember hearing on radio was an anti-drug campaign. And it went a little something like this. You know, me pikin, na waiting, na brown, cocaine, this. Hey, mama, me head one scatter. I don't remember all of it, but I vividly remember like public education trying to deter young people and educate people about drugs in our community. It is 2024, and in the past 24 months, I think that the entire country has seen and heard and witnessed incidents of basically doped out, coked out, like addiction is now on the streets, right? If it was something that was personal and intimate before, it's now right in front of us. We've seen videos of police officers, just like coked out high. We've seen soldiers coked out high. We've seen young people coked out high, women coked out high. And what's really, really hard to understand is it's happening, we're seeing it, but it just keeps growing. Today in the studio, I have two guests. My first guest is my sister friend, Mawa Sandy. She's founder of Nali Foundation, a nonprofit that works with communities and organizations to provide mental psychosocial welfare support to women. And Mawa is going to share her family's personal experience with addiction and how it basically took her into a world looking for service and care to help someone in her family who was struggling and probably is struggling with addiction, because addiction, once you get on that same way, it just stay with you for the rest of your life, right? It's always possible for relapse. Our next guest is Dr. Elizabeth Aliyu, who is the resident psychiatrist in charge of child and adolescent mental health at Sierra Leone Psychiatric Teaching Hospital, which I don't know where that is. Welcome to the show, Dr. Aliyu. Usai dandede.
It's, I don't like to use the word, but locally, quote unquote, Christian.
It's the Psychiatric Teaching Hospital at in Kisi. Okay, because I'm like, I've never heard of Sierra Leone Psychiatric Teaching, but I do know Kisi Christian. Yes. But for the purposes of this conversation, we are talking about mental health and addiction, and we don't want to stigmatize anybody. I think that the misunderstanding of mental health issues in Sierra Leone is that we just use one broad term, say the person non crise, right? And we definitely, that's not what addiction is. So, I've had friends and I still have friends who have family members who are dealing with addiction. And one thing that I know about addiction that I can try for make them understand, na for say, addiction na sickness, na a disease of the brain. And most people are not can understand that. So make a lab break down so that as we start the conversation, who side we they come off from. So all man in brain gets the capacity for produce this, I don't know if na hormone, but it's called dopamine. Dopamine na in the, it make you feel good. So all of us, we get human beings, every time where we they do the thing the way they support we survival, we they eat, we they sleep, you take care of you pikin, you fence shelter. Biologically, anytime we do something we good for we safe, for we survival, we they get dopamine now we system. That dopamine they make you feel good. Like it make you feel like for say I don't do something right, you they feel good. As you they get the dopamine, you they continue for do the behavior because you want to get that feeling that good feeling, right? So say if I eat, I they feel good. So when you angry, you they eat. If I thirsty, I drink, I they feel good. So la drink water. So you brain the train in self, right? For say, oh, when I do this, I get reward. The dopamine I the reward. Now, where you begin for take drugs, wetin dey happen is that drugs, they go na the same parts of the brain, like where you go eat and drink for release dopamine. So anytime when you take drugs, you take alcohol, you smoke Kush, you take jamba, dopamine they release into your system. Unfortunately, over time, the more drugs you take, the more dopamine, you dey train your brain for say, like how normal way food na for me survival. This alcohol self now, the alcohol self na for survival. The Kush na for survival. So over time, your brain they confuse. Even some people themselves, even this feeling, some people can say, oh, hey, this girl here, so I don't see this book in America where mama then go abandon them, picking them even for go find drugs. And people then they say, oh, Sky go useless woman this, how you go left you picking, mama and picking this, that. But even that natural feeling for take care of you picking, the brain they tell you say the drugs is more important pass you for take care of you picking. So over and over, your brain just a condition. So now they cause the disease, right? Because now your brain don't replace the basic thing that when you need for your survival, and your brain they tell you say, no, now this alcohol thing now you need, now this Kush now you need. So over and over. The other thing where the addiction they affect now your prefrontal cortex. So as human beings, as we they grow, the one thing we make we different from dog or puss. Now we prefrontal cortex. Wetin that they do? Now the parts of we brain where they control with decision making, right? Where they help you for lay you able know this good, this right, social functioning, etc., etc. Now we human beings they know they reach full maturity of the prefrontal cortex development until they reach the age of about 25. And that make most parts of the world where then they talk about youth. Then can say, na 24, it is stop. After 25, you become an adult. I know say we own na 35, but biologically, now that make them can say you're not adolescent or young adult, say you reach 25. Because then they look and say your brain not really develop yet, your prefrontal cortex not develop yet, for you really able to make proper decision like mature mortal man. So the drugs, they affect your prefrontal cortex, where they make it difficult again for you able to make good decision about whether you take the drugs or not. So really, people that were addicted to drugs, their brain wired differently. And I can always say also, people can ask me, make another drink. And I can say, I'm afraid because some people then predisposition to addiction because their papa or their mama na been addict, right? So that means say, genetics back don't kind side now. So I can say, do you allow no can drink? I can't so alcoholic. They are passed also picking. And person way get drinking problem or drug problem. Now person way me go afraid for like even dates or born with because that in a team where they think but say if I'm in a relationship with somebody who's an addict, the likelihood of them passing that on to a child is there, you know what I mean? So Dr. Eliu, wetin una as at the psychiatric hospital, wetin are some of the baseline resources that we una get if person cancer una or they, with a struggle or in family camp for say then they struggle with addiction?
Thank you very much, Vickie Remoe. Honestly, thank you for such a. I love the
no
introduction.
No
the
worry,
terms.
I did for you.
Were like,
listen. What can they tell them people they are so? I am of communication. They want to argue, but it is this kind of tautology breaking down that I offer.
You did a good job because even as a doctor, I would have used my bigger terms.
Now that make I explain because I know say una where they ask you, you go and bring the science and the this and family and us they not go understand. So no, I really wanted to simplify it, make it easier for people to truly know that the person when are addict, they can't help themselves.
That's true. And I was just telling Mawa, you have addiction, you have dependency.
Right.
And
what's in the difference?
Okay, so you have this this phase. You start with abuse, where you just take it frequently, you just test it, because it's illicit drug. You're not supposed to use it, but you just try it. Then addiction comes in when you just need to take this drug, like it's a daily use now. I should take it daily. And dependency is when you can't do without it, survival.
Sure.
As in, if I don't take it, I will die.
Sure. That's the feeling that the addict has. Like, okay.
So that's the different phases. And when, if you look at our country as a whole, I think I'll take it like from way, way, way back. I normally tell people we didn't cater for our children. And I think this is what we're facing now.
Okay, what do you mean by we didn't cater for our children?
So, Sierra Leone have gone through series of events.
Yes.
We've gone through the war, the civil war that's really brutal. And people just give like a blind eye, we place it under the carpet, like people would understand. And we had the Ebola where we had orphans, we had children, and then we moved on to mudslide. And you have the day-to-day poverty. We already have the social determinants for mental illness.
Okay. Dear, I beg, leftist thing. What do you mean by social determinant?
Sorry.
No, because in dynamic and they talk say this is why you people you come into the place you'll just be throwing jargon, please.
So like poverty and one panic in them.
Okay.
So we get all into the day, and up to like 2 years ago when we started the child unit, sign up in day for cater for picking them.
Okay.
We get mental illness or outside picking them go when they get depression or anxiety. Then self they get them. It's normal for them.
Of course.
And now now this youth now, we from adolescent to young adult, we're now the prime for alcohol and drug use. These are the like the age range
right.
where people in the use them. And now we struggle with them. Normally, we person kind of hospital, as doctor will taking history, and the good news. We get drug test during deep test.
Okay.
We will test for like waiting.
The substances that within our system.
Take.
Okay.
Because most of the time, the person they tell you what they take.
Of course.
It go tell you say fine, I not take nothing.
I can smoke one time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some man go just say na marriage in Jamba because you go say
it's socially acceptable.
Yes.
Sure.
Or me na I start to know more. Like some man just they pick. But what we can do the urine test now, I can tell him. But there's this good and bad news when it comes to Kush. That's not the drug of the day. Because this Kush what we get now, yeah, in all day na the urine test where with man make. Where we did do am now, yeah, we did a detector.
Undetectable. Okay.
But the good news is we they able to know the thing them because the drug test they test different chemicals them.
Right.
So we're able to see some of these chemicals there. So we're able, like, to date now, we don't begin to understand the mixture of this Kush.
Okay.
Because it's like so get wonderful chemist in this country. We
listen, we camp are bad. We can innovate.
honestly, if you know the sometimes I wonder like who's I will pull them brain the
Right.
kind of mixtures they use.
What are some of the substances that they're
So
putting
when we
into
do the urine, the acetone, in diazepam, that's another how do they call it? Mogadon or whatever. Yes.
what's in that? I'm sorry.
Mogadon, that's sleeping tablet when they mommy then they take.
Okay.
Then they add tramadol. You know, say them they take tramadol before.
Yes.
But because they can't stop tramadol and tramadol can become expensive,
Okay.
so the fair way out for other way it go cheap
Okay.
and with safer. Would they see some form of say in mortarman bone, then the green am they put on there. The mixture not on it too.
Human bones, like from the cemetery.
Yes, then the green am. So it's like
So are they going to the cemetery and digging up people's bodies?
I'm sure. So then other attack chemicals then. Even recently, they look at say fetal minutes, like now one drug way a popular in America.
Okay.
Instead of a substance, we notice say back, then they add this. So they are just coming up with different. And as of, I get one patient who tell me say that they add crack. So now the problem we face with, now make I say you get this addiction and dependency. Now we get so many young adults that we dependent as in the kind of hospital to we we dey treat them, then go say, oh, we're changing, then go relapse.
Right.
And in a normal society, even in the West, only 10% now then go successfully heal.
Yep.
The rest, therefore, they relapse.
Yep. In and out.
And the way to make a comeback say, we not been cater for picking, now that one can draw inside the talk. Drug abuse in a mental health in sick them, now then to the worker.
Yep.
With money, Master Sabi people don't find out, say, they found out that most people that use substances have mental conditions that haven't been catered. And it cuts across from those childhood personality disorders. Like when you were talking about change, you also have personality traits that these people have a tendency of taking.
Of course, yeah.
And you come again, children that have depression, anxiety, children have gone through trauma. These people, they have their tendency of taking drugs or substances very high.
Right.
Because this is like a coping mechanism, their own coping mechanism.
For deal with them.
To deal with. Right. Even bullying in school, peer pressures, these are all things. So because we didn't cater for our children, we have even those learning disabilities, ADHD. Like because they can't express themselves, they act out
in another way.
Yes. Sure. So just imagine you have, for example, a child that had learning disability that dropped out of school because the teacher say, quote unquote, a fool.
Yeah, and then kids start bullying them or start teasing them.
And they leave school and they go to the streets. And since the streets, the way maybe someone will tell them that can heal them up is taking substances. Yes. And they go to substances. So you see how from learning disability has moved to substance. So, and most of these cases we see, we ended up seeing they have comorbidity. That is, they have mental illness on the line. And once this mental illness is not treated, the why factor, that's the key. And that's the key for substance to help with addiction, dependency is knowing why.
Right, because you can't treat it if you don't know what's in it.
Yes, the why factor is very important. And maybe most of the time the why factor is with mental illness. Okay. And if the mental illness is not treated, even if you take the drugs off the person, they'll leave it. After 1-2 months, they'll go back.
Okay. So, Mawa, I want to come to you. You and I mean, we've known each other we're very young. Very, very young women. When I say young, we're very young. But we've known each other for quite some time in our youth, as we continue to still be youth in the society, forever youth. How did your family come to deal with drugs or drug addiction, and how did that lead you to start this nonprofit that you started now, Nali?
So. So before I learned that, that I had a family member who was an addict, I think 2 years ago there was a CNN article about Sierra Leone and Kush. And just one morning, I'm like, wait, what? We're having drugs in Sierra Leone at this level? I went to my community spur loop and the boys didn't buy asa. And this is before government even thought it was necessary to zoom in on that particular conversation. That CNN article was so disturbing that I'm like, okay, I live in this community, and these young men and we engage on different levels outside of anything else. Just randomly go sit down, hang out with them, and have a conversation. And now this Kush, I mean, this is in my neighborhood, right? So if we don't talk about this, then it's a problem. Went there one Sunday or Saturday, and I called the community. I was like, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about this Kush. I said, I'm not even waiting at Kush. I just see on a CNN, and I don't know if we're not the take him or if we're not the take him, but I want us to have a conversation about this. Let me tell you what it means when you take this Kush and why you should not partake in it. And just like Dr. Elizabeth has said, did a bit of research, and the concussion in that thing, I'm like, when I know it's one they take, like you're killing yourself slowly. It comes to a point where I understand, say, yes, like you feel like you need to feel good, you need to feel high. But this year, I tell like say, pass max small.
Yeah.
So we had that frank talk. And one thing that came very clear in that conversation was that, I mean, it's for dependency, right? Lots of these young men, they were like, Mami, awa, true. We no want member we day. It's because we'll take this to the city, we'll sleep. So sometimes we'll not get money for even, we get up money in our house. So because we have the cost, we don't take with Kush. We'll not even notice.
I know they.
Yeah, so you
Right.
forget your sorrows, you forget your reality. And I was just like, I understand, but I beg. Low we pull hand by this Kush business. Even to the point where I made T-shirts, we literally walked around Spur Loop. Mami, I was saying no to Kush, etc., etc. And fast forward, couple of years ago, again, a year and a half ago, possibly, a family member, dearest person to me. I didn't know. I mean, we all have our challenges. Life is not rosy. But I think we always, as a family, thought, not just stressed, it's just spoiled, it's just needy,
Right.
it's just entitled. So there were like all sorts of explanation.
Right.
We never probably wanted to think along the lines of drugs. And that person was actually on drugs. And obviously, being the typical African setting that we find ourselves in, there's shame to the family, there is, I know I'm not for do to like killing self, not to my business, stigma. But here I am, I'm like, no. At the core, being compassionate and empathetic in this situation, it's what's necessary. I find myself in Sierra Leone where the only option was Kisi Krisiad. Am I going to send my very dear loved one to Kisi Krisiad? No, I am not. Is it because Kisi Krisiad is not good enough? No, that's not what it is. But I feel like, and I believe that, the help they needed will not be given to them in that space.
Right.
What did I end up doing? I found a private hospital, rented the entire floor, and as God could have it, I was linked to Dr. Elizabeth, who would come in on a daily basis to provide support and medical treatment. And I mean, during that period, obviously, again, it's not something that you talk about. It's not my story. And because it's not my story, I'm very mindful how I share and who I share it with. But I'm here like, okay, Mahawa, tell God thank you, you can afford this. But how many people are in Sierra Leone? How many women in particular who have, they don't even know Sefo begin or Sefo go. They get picking them, and they're in this predicament. So Nali Foundation, I started Nali when I had my daughter Layla 8 years ago. And when Layla was born, I realized that she's truly blessed. And, but we live in Sierra Leone, where the poverty, the disparity is huge. I don't want to raise a child who lives in a bubble, who believes in, this is what the reality is. It is not. So I started Nali just by literally catering to the less fortunate, bringing smiles to children's faces and what have you. Till Layla's first Christmas, we spent it in an orphanage, brought Christmas gifts, and to Heaven's Home Orphanage, who's really very dear to me. I love the kids there. And we spent the day with them. And since then, we do different activities just around that. And I always tell Layla, Nyali is for you. I'm doing this for you. When Mama is not here, I want you to continue doing this. Even when we're not in Sierra Leone, I will take her to old people's homes. We will feed the poor. And it's my way of teaching her the reality of the world. That what you see, you waking up in your bubble, is not the reality. And so that's how Nyali came about. But then when I realized that, oh wow, okay, Nyali's doing well, yes, on a need-to basis, do a lot of recreational activities. Well, in Spur Loop, the road was terrible. There was no light. It was dark. Lots of young ladies were getting raped. Okada riders will drop you up the hill. You have to walk. We decided to fix the road. We decided to put street lights just for the community. All this in the name of Nali, right? But then Nali was the purpose. We had to shift purposes to mental health awareness. And one thing I noticed and I realized is that, and it goes back to my conversation with the guys in Bayelsa, we don't talk about these things. We shy away from them. We pretend they don't exist, and they do. It is our reality. It is killing our youth and our communities on a daily basis. And I then decided that Nyali will become an awareness space to talk about mental health, and not just mental health, psychosocial health. Because women, we don't have anywhere to go. Our communities, our families, it's almost like, well, blow, ultimately, because you're not a woman, you're sensitive, but that's not the case. What women, we don't even talk about when women have babies.
Postpartum depression.
We don't discuss none of those realities. We're just here pretending life is kosher. So what Nyali aims to create is to create a safe space where you can able to talk with your one whole heart. You can be you can be free. It has taken, I've been quite deliberate about going public because I don't want Nyali to be just another activist space. Because
attention-seeking activity.
it is not.
Right.
This is so dear to me that for as long as I am alive, for as long as I can, mental health awareness is something that I want to become a champion for. And again, money no matter where you can participate. The reality is we not get help in our salon.
No, help not there.
We don't
Help not
have
there,
it.
help not there.
I mean, I held space in collaboration with Plan International and Dr. Carol. The things that you hear, like what came out of that conversation really took me back, and I'm like, okay, I before said this is not a small thing. I had to take my time to make this right and to get it right. And there are women that you see who looks very good outside, cosmetics, proper, but deep within, they are dying.
Right.
Deep
Absolutely.
within,
Absolutely.
they are suffering, and they are seeking for a safe space.
In our day.
And in our day,
In our day.
because also there's a lack of trust. You go to person, you talk, within they bother you. Next thing you notice,
Didn't I
somebody else is saying it, and it's not okay. That's one way to just continue for them to dig, to go into their hole further.
Yep.
So for me, at Nyali is really about creating that safe space, not safe space, quote unquote, but a real safe space where when you find yourself in the midst of anything related to Nyali, you leave there feeling like, oh my God, Papa God, thank you. This is what I needed. I mean, I am not a mental health expert. I am not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. This is just what I believe that in life we all have multiple purposes. And one of my purpose is to make sure that humans actually feel safe in this world. And we just create a better place by creating this safe space. Because in no day, you party self, you not go tell them certain things.
No.
So it's
You
really
cannot,
disturbing
you
at that
cannot.
level.
Even at the family level.
No.
I think one of the things that you've said, because I remember when you finally called to tell me, when this was going on, and I was shocked, and I was like, oh, Mama, how come you didn't say anything? And I remember you saying like, well, it's not really my story, right? I don't want to, in the process of like you being like now the family member impacted by the addiction, that you're now like you didn't want to center yourself in that person's addiction struggle, which I thought was like, yeah, that is how you create safety, right? Because in a society where there's a lot of stigma, and also you don't know how far the victim of addiction wants their story to go. So you're not able to just take and they go and pass. And I think the difference with, let's say, something like Kush is that, drugs not by money, right? So drug addiction, the drug of choice, not by which you pocket able buy, right?
Let me just stop you here. Interestingly, Kush, you have 3 grades.
Oh, tell us.
Interestingly, when
News to me.
Yes, when we talk to our clients, then like some will explain you have K Spice, Jagabano, you have the different.
Wait, sorry. They have a Kush flavor called Jagaban.
Yeah, it depends. Like when you go, you tell them exactly what you want. It's just like
Sure,
cocaine.
of course. They have different.
Yes, it's just
grades.
like cocaine. And one thing also I noticed when it comes to drugs, the people like the cartel masters, they don't take it.
Of course not.
But the people that sell it, like I know, I have a patient that used to sell it. He has to take it. So I asked him like how he ended up, and like he was saying, because you have to taste.
Right.
You have to know the type.
So you go able explain and say this if you want feel this way, 9 for take. Like sure.
Exactly. So that's how you see most of the young boys selling it, because some people sell it to pay college fees, to attend. Oh, let me give you an incident, because I work directly with children.
Right.
And the adolescents, I've seen a case. He's now 14 or so. He started using drugs at the age of 7.
What?
I have seen one also at the age of 10. Yes. And this one that sell drugs, he started selling drugs because the cousin and the friends were taking Kush.
So it's a lot being sold to
Yes,
them.
because they were
make money.
Yes, because he needed money.
Right.
Because he needs to pay his fees.
Wow.
But because he needs to test what types he's selling to them, because they'll ask him, and like they need a good brand, that's how he started using.
Wow.
It's just like what Marwa was saying. When you hear stories, then you stop like blaming people when it comes to substances, when it comes to drugs, alcohol, because there's always a story to tell. There's always story behind. And an incident I'll never forget is when a 14-year-old boy was taken, because most of the adolescents I see are substance use, but they are for the line in personality,
Of course.
conduct disorders, some have depression and all. The father was selling drugs. He takes and sells drugs. And he started taking drugs, not from the father, but from school, when he was like 10 years or something, he's like 14. He came now, interestingly, he had underlying schizophrenia, that's a mental illness.
Right, schizophrenia, okay.
And compounded now with substance use, now he totally went psychotic.
Okay. He basically lost his mind.
Yes. And it was so pathetic, because when I told the father, you need to stop selling drugs, you need to make sure you don't take it at home and all. You know what he told me? Now these dogs' money, now they take pay them school fee and feed them doctor. What sell, now they take care of them. He said, I'm beginning at private school and 2 days ago, so it's here for them. So, like Ma was saying, we need to start thinking about how we can create other skills for these people. Because I just can't tell him stop. Can I feed them? No. And like the young girls, the prostitutes that take substances, they need it. You just can't tell them you need to stop it. So sometimes I wonder when people say, you're not going to stop them. I look at them and I say, oh yeah, it's your team bright and beautiful for you. Some people, it's their own means of survival.
Right.
And as society now, we shouldn't be judgmental. We should try to find a way how we can help these people, how we can solve their issues. Seeing, there was this social media case also that was on WhatsApp or something. I wasn't even in town when I came back. People were sharing it, and I was like, it's a minor. You shouldn't share this scenario.
Yeah.
And interestingly, why was she taking substances? it was burying her sorrow. That's what she told me. And now when I say, you say, doctor, I'm not able to left farm. They run away now. See the way mama lucky, they go fair. He say, I'm not able, I can't stop. He say, they tell myself, say, no, I don't advise myself, say, I can't. She's 14.
Wow.
So this is what's happening. This is our society. Right. But society don't make people not able to talk, but
I think that's why it's really important for people like Mawa to come forward, because me know personally, you know, we had a president who had a son who had known drug addiction, and every time they would go or sink into addiction, then they fly out of the country. They go for treatments in Libya, waiting and call, then send and come back. Go any more, like just this constant cycle. It was really a missed opportunity then to champion it, to say, you know, this is what my family is going through. If it happened to me picking at this level, you understand what I mean? Na problem no society. Lo we do programming, nothing. Then we get another president where in your sister being get picking, we get drug problem. How I know is because when we were in Ghana, they send and candy for treatment. Again, nobody not taken for make a issue. Because this is the thing, right? This is why overseas, them better pass we. In the US, where you see it time and time again, where tragedy meets family. The family, they look and say, I use this opportunity for make sure, say, other person in Pekin not go end up in the same way where me Pekin end up consistently. They wonder way, then they go to school, then go shoot them Pekin there, where then get part of the waiting and they do after they don't kill them Pekin in school, now for become advocates against gun violence, right? They want their way sometimes in Pekin die and drunk driving or drugs or this. Then they fight for make them create laws then at the country and programming for let them change, for let it not happen to other people there. So you go see Boku acts then they and laws in America where they even name them after somebody, right? For in the memory of that person, because now in family, now in advocate for let them provide the services. Right? So waiting they happen, unfortunately, in a salon, I feel like a lot of the people that we get power and privilege and access for lead the way for social transformation or for the creation of policies or services, then they look and like for say na individualized problem, like for say na me pikin, this they happen to me pikin.
It's unique.
Yes, make a protect me pikin. Make a find way for help me pikin. Instead, they look and within a larger social context of like, you know what, if this thing they happen to me, we will get so, right? That means say it happened to other people then. So we have to really as a society be thinking less about no problem not in a salon. And that I can tell people and say, no problem not in a salon. No matter how you think, say you get. No problem not in a salon where you get to and go protect you from. Rain, it is for don't all side na salon. It is just a matter of time. I don't see on so many times where like think they been at this country and see me na making the talk. I go talk. All time people then go say, don't all Titi, all time you talk, you don't go mind your business. You don't go mind that. You know, and people are like, this not to even your case. I'll tell you go chat a case. And I can always tell people and say, I know they talk because it directly affects me. And they talk because I recognize, say, this problem, na endemic problem, is systematic. If I not talk today, way happen to Mariama, tomorrow it go happen to Fatu. Tomorrow it go happen to Mamusu. Like, it just spirals, right? And then one day, it go happen to Posse where I care about. And where happen to Posse where I care about, or to me, who say they go talk? If where even they happen. Now, all that they make, where some people then can think he meet some people that where then can begin talk. Nobody, then they get no support.
No.
Because people they look and say, now you see. Because when other people are struggling with issues, you don't speak up, you don't support, you don't mobilize resources. And so individually, the same problem all man gets, but nobody's fixing.
But that is so true, Vickie. And that's the sad reality of our community and our society, right? So I remember where I go to them by Asababo them. The folks now that are all of a sudden championing Kush talk on social media, they go now, this. Some of those, you tell me the West. These ones, they will never stop. I'm like, you have to understand that we must break the cycle.
Right.
And what that means is, let these people feel like humans. You know? I'm like, you not go just, as politicians, for example, you not go just go to your area, but they're waiting rich for, let them vote for you.
Right.
You cannot be that person.
Right.
How about you just check on them? Hey, how you do? How are you guys? Just check on them and see. Their issues are not that large. Now, government say it provide jobs for these young folks, right? And
no,
let's see. No, because what these people need.
No, wait I see and wait I vex. Because you know, say I mean it was vex for the country. I got everybody to call me Mama Salon. I see something where say, I'm not gonna call Uda right term. It say, you know, if you clean yourself up, it was like get off of drugs. Like Mawa, get off of drugs. If you get off of drugs, governments get job for you.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
No, I saw it. And I remember thinking, this suggests that you think or believe that the individual can truly get, like, when, you know, like America, when they do that campaign, just say no to drugs. It was the most unsuccessful anti-drug campaign ever.
But I think that's what it is.
Because you can't just say no. If we talk, say,
not.
you get predisposition conditions, genetics, the environment,
the accessibility.
Yes.
If I do say they sell drugs, I want to stop her.
How am I saying just no? You understand what I mean? I'm not getting for it. I don't get it that you say just no. So this idea that like, oh, just get off drugs and government will employ you.
No, but I think that's why these conversations are important, Vickie, because I did not see that post. These individuals are not on drugs by choice. They're on drugs to forget their sorrows and therefore keep them busy, and naturally they won't have time to be on Kush. Because when you take Kush, they're saying sleepy, they sleep. So if you get woke, you're going to walk in place. There's no way you're going to be on Kush.
Ma, why then they show we so man and Soja man then they on Kush.
Apparently
then
so.
Maybe business so. No, it's not. It's my point is it's not just a question of like busy. It's like we get the environment. You can't take you know, they take me out of the environment, right? But I think what's
you can minimize it.
Sure.
You can minimize it.
I think the resources, right? So for families and communities is perhaps now it's like you get for reverse, right? In our clinics, for example, right? Community health clinics or the health workers, do they have the tools and the information? Where then they go inside? Like, you know, say we get vaccine. For example, we're starting to do one of the things that will be great span at this country in a vaccine.
Yes.
Then Sabi we they go the last mile.
Because
right?
it's what should I say, universal health coverage.
Yes.
So
can we not put mental health, education and services and information and all of this, can we not situate it within the
primary?
Yes, primary.
I think Ministry of Health is doing that now.
Okay.
They set up something, no?
Yeah, so that's what I just wanted to, like, when you were discussing. The thing with, like, if we're thinking of fighting this disease, this thing that is with us, we have to think, we need to know, what are we dealing with? What are we fighting? Because all of this is like what we think Kush is.
Sure.
And is Kush the only drug we know of? There is ecstasy.
Of course.
It's with us, let me tell you.
Yeah.
There's crack. I will tell you.
And there's cocaine.
Yes. Yeah. So, and have come along clients, not one, not two, that do cocaine, not three, not even four. So, and these people have friends that they take cocaine with.
No, cocaine dey na salon because we dey export them. If we dey export them, go other side. You know, how much cocaine then say then catch from salon where they go England recently, now one port. What's that Fendi story? But just to let you know, an enormous shipment of cocaine from Sierra Leone, right? the market value of the cocaine that came from Sierra Leone that they caught on November 29th that ended up in Wigan, Wigan, Dengue Football Club, they want to be Sabi football, was 143 million pounds worth of cocaine that came from Sierra Leone. Destination, 20 kilo sacks disguised as flour.
It allegedly came from Sierra
Not
Leone?
so
or it came
alleged,
from Sierra Leone?
ma'am. Inside container. Then pack them. Look at the picture. I can even show you. Then pack them inside container. Then ship and go Wigan. All right, ma'am. 140 million pounds of cocaine. This was in November 2023. Then go put on our oath. 9 suspects in a series of coordinated strikes were arrested. Blah, 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 blah. So cocaine get for day na salon. If we dey export them for go, because not so, the cocaine where they can salon, not so for salon in use, it dey come. It dey come for as a port, right? It dey come as transshipment.
But definitely
Yeah.
you have to
so
test
it. Get for left.
You have
get for
to
left to we.
And
Yes.
just like I was saying, what Dr. Caroline is, a pathway she wants to take is also a very good
Can you
idea.
tell people who Dr. Caroline is?
Oh, she's the presidential advisor for mental
Dr.
health.
Carol.
Dr. Carol.
Okay.
Yes, Carol Labor.
Okay.
She's taking the approach.
She's a
the-
presidential advisor for mental health.
Yes.
Okay.
She's taking the like from childhood approach, like doing it stepwise, like catering for their mental illness, because definitely because most of them have mental illness,
Sure.
so that's why like trying to solve all the issues. So there are different approaches the government can take, but I think mental illness, like substance use, the big boy now, just what Mahawa is doing. If we could just have like maybe 10 or 20 of these, like trying to know the root of these and solving this, I think Sierra Leone will be better in the next 5 years. But this one way, not only business, it's not helping us.
Right. Because it's not at my doorstep. So, yeah, we done Kush. But my thing, what I was trying to speak of is like Sierra Leone has a very robust community health worker network, right? Through the Ministry of Health. I think Skade not been there as part of the core of, but now they don't like integrate community health workers into you know, primary healthcare service delivery, right?
Yes.
And most of them are then can they lead with vaccination campaigns, and meaning then if you want to know who that Sabilis country,
Those are the
community health
Even
workers.
with HIV, TB,
Yes.
these are these people
Yes.
that's
The
why
champions.
Yes,
the
and
champion.
doing DOTS, directly observed
Yes.
therapy, and also HIV medication,
And I
whatever.
think the ministry is working on something for mental health.
Okay.
Like taking everything.
Yes,
to the-
because if you're able for Empire community health workers, then maybe you'll be community mental health workers, right? Because not so all man go get the specialization or the training. It means that you have people who can do multiple things. Now, because when they go to the communities they're all the time, then go able for no way drugs don't come
Inside
in
the
community, first of all, right? Because it can be something that they can start, even just like, because people then know what's in the gun at the community.
Yes.
So where you come, first of all, as a community health worker, they're trusted, right? So then they can't they all the time just to do like a drug wellness test for just say, hey, anybody didn't ask, so we don't begin to use drugs. This is una they see, what's una they yeri, right? And they can start documenting anecdotally what's in people then they say, and then that information they can go back to, you know, the primary healthcare units in that area there, where then they say, okay, here's what we, like when they do case management, right, or community health management for say, no worry, I work in a Department of Health. I know you're like, how are you so? There was one time in my life I thought, oh, I should go into healthcare. Yes, no, there was a point after I left college where after cancer alone for doing my thesis, where feel to say I want to go into public health. There was a moment of death, yes. So because of that, like I know I'm probably more
Other
well-versed than most people,
systems.
yes. And so, like, in a place like Sierra Leone, you could do community case management where you're like, say don't come. So then, say once we reach this kind of level anecdotally, where the information will be the kind, then that means, say, we for begin to send support or resources to the community. Sometimes for go do education, for go talk to people there.
Sensitization.
Yes,
Talk
give
about
leaflets,
it.
talk to
Yeah.
this, waiting they come, da. But the other part, of course, is how do these drugs get into the country? Right? There's the part of the...
It's legal. When you talk about drugs, you have to talk about the legal.
Sure. I mean, for the illegal drugs, at least, like, it's that, like, 10 years ago, we're not being get Kush, right? 5 years ago, we're not being get Kush.
Yes, Kush came in 2019.
Yes. So the question is, how did Kush come here, right? I mean, I don't think that's an answer that we have, but these are the things, right? So on the care provision side, it's like, okay, let we try for find way for care for the people that we get addiction or we predisposed for later use drugs because of mental health issues. But then at the same time, I feel like government needs to do a lot more to protect our borders, right? To protect the inflow of illicit drugs into Sierra Leone. And also for they go into stings, like, una go fend it in them, una go fend them, una destroy them. And let we start for they see big people that were involved in the trade, right? Una they arrest them, una they punish them. So it also go deter other people the way they think, say, okay, some country that if they catch you with drugs or distribution, whatever, 15 years jail, 20 years, like they're not they even play with them. So you where they take that risk, they say, hey, this is not big risk, Okay, so we've talked about drugs, right? And we've talked about illicit drugs. What we haven't talked about really, and I would like for us to talk about, is alcohol. And the reason why I want to talk about alcohol is because alcohol not illegal, right? But one of the things that we always...
And it's dangerous than drugs.
One of the things that we, for me as an adult, again, I don't drink alcohol, so, I know, I don't know, right? But one of the things that we notice in salon in terms of behavior is that alcohol so easily available
and accessible
at the teenager level, at the adolescent level, but there's no education in the country for deter alcohol use, but also for help people that understand moderate use, right? Say on its own, it's not bad for you, but like in moderation, right? We not get nothing towards moderation. We they see then small thing that we then they produce go get like 25% alcohol, which literally is like fucking boss hole na pussy. No, I'm like boss hole na pussy in Bele. Do you understand? So, are you seeing alcohol addiction cases? Like, what percentage of the addiction cases are you dealing with that are drugs, and which ones are alcohol? And what are you finding within the community and within your patients?
Let me pass you about one. Alcohol dependent, they will not come to the hospital. Oh. It's only when it's emergency, like when they drunk and drive, or when the liver is packed up.
Something happen.
Yes.
Okay.
But other than that, even if you get some people, it must go taking two pints or every day.
Yeah, is that addiction?
No. But interestingly, you have a low risk and no risk.
Okay.
So it doesn't mean
no risk and
low
low
risk.
Okay, explain to me.
So on a normal basis, a normal human being can take for man 14 in pints. You understand?
Per what?
Per week.
Okay, per week.
Okay.
So
sorry.
that means say 2 pints per day for man.
Yes.
For woman, 1 pint per day.
Okay.
You know me for
1 pint of like 5% alcohol bottle of beer.
Yeah, you understand?
Also that
whiskey.
You understand? And then they say, it's me for say like if inside that 1 week, one day you drink all like 7 or 14.
Sure.
It will be like 2 per day.
Moderation.
You go for stagger.
And then they
woman. No, I need for talk because I know say some other people, extra people that did at this studio, and some of them they watch. I want to take your phone. You guys are inside there. Women, doctors say 1 pint per
Now low
day.
risk. That's not low risk.
In fact,
You know
self
me-
continue.
So you know mean for say where I tell you so, if you go take alcohol, you're at
You
low risk.
prescription.
Low
That
risk.
mean for say
didn't
you get tendency for the ad. If you get other factors, they like when you be the talk say if you papa be the drink, you get tendency when you don't begin and they by the time the 5-10 years, the thing with alcohol in a long term, that make him bad.
Slippery slope.
Yes, that make him bad. And the thing with alcohol, it embog you physically, mentally, and
Tell me about what did they do to your body physically?
Okay.
Because I know say it's not visible, so sometimes people they're not they see their guts or whatever.
Like the
so
one
what
thing
happens?
where alcohol known for, where Master Sabi people know it was liver cirrhosis. That's
Right.
a liver problem.
Okay.
So you take low risk now, or you take basmaco, you get tendency. But we say that make you the but people and get liver problem. So man they say, well, now one time they drink alcohol. Sometimes some man they take 1 alcohol, some man they take 10 alcohol. You and your level
Right,
na
your
different.
bodies are different.
And the other thing with alcohol, it dey lead you to other things. Like it dey lead you from you
Gateway.
take drugs.
What means we'll be small with the land, but drugs in America and they say this is a gateway drug, meaning and that's when they talk about marijuana.
Yes.
Say yes, marijuana not bad, but
Well, most people already take Kush. If you listen, we can take the
Now
history.
marijuana then
They
starts
don't
with-
begin take
okay.
in jamba. And what make them stop?
you know the
Scent.
giddy high. Oh, the scent.
The scent.
Ah,
Kush
people
does not get
smell.
scent, and you know they give a red eye.
Oh wow.
So if person take Kush now, you need to know now they
That's why they
sleep no
sleep.
more. If person take Kush now, like for almost years, you will never know. The only thing that you know is this inactivity and like just don't be
Joke
bothered.
style. Zombie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, you don't have smell.
Wow.
So that's how most people that used to take marijuana moved.
To
You don't have red eyes. You don't have smell.
Is Kush not smoking? They smoke? Huh?
Yes. Now with cigarette. So anybody who takes in a cigarette, somebody they smoke.
If you dig
It's
deep.
small.
So,
Yes.
wait, do they put it
Yes.
inside
Yes,
the cigarette?
because Kush small.
So when you team up na streets, you look like na cigarettes
Cigarettes.
normal you dey smoke. And waiting person go smell na nicotine, you not go smell the Kush. Wow.
And the thing with the still spice up Kush, nicotine, you know, now one of the most addictive receptors that we
Yes.
all over your body.
Yes, yes,
That's the thing. I make
yes.
for quit smoking is difficult
Yes.
because of that nicotine.
I mean, get one teacher will tell me say nicotine is more addictive than crack.
Yes, because it
now the attesting and for left.
yes,
Yes, yes.
because it they in receptors them. Not so like you ate no more day. It ain't like you want all body the receptors.
so
them
they
to
tingle. They tingle. You get for go smoke.
So just imagine now you add Kush Banandi.
Wow.
So
So
you're amplifying.
you're using the transmission of nicotine.
I make a table chemist them. We got world class chemist them. So
Right.
you
So,
don't-
it's like the Kush they bind to the nicotine. They travel all over your body the same way nicotine go travel, which is what makes the Kush addiction so bad.
yes.
Wow. But let's go back to the alcohol.
So come out to alcohol. Alcohol, now one thing we remember say, oh, for thy stomach's sake.
What's he?
For thy stomach's sake.
That's me.
That one way they take no more for make you feel fine.
Oh,
For my
And-
stomach's sake.
In one, I read some survey say alcohol now the oldest friend and enemy.
sure.
The oldest, even with drugs.
Quran
They don't-
no one time,
it-
Bible no one time.
it always don't dey.
Except if na church and a pastor they give you. No, or na Jesus turn into water to wine. If it's not the one that Jesus Christ has changed, no, it's not for you.
It don't always deal with we. And it always be with enemy. We will not ever see CNN as the enemy.
Sure.
And recently they link alcohol with most of the cancers. The throat cancers, breast cancers, they don't link her with them, like lung use. So
Okay.
now we begin to see, say, so this one when I be with friend with enemy, and lead you to so many diseases them. It affects your kidney, your liver, your heart. So I can say in bad past even drugs. And the thing about alcohol dependency.
Right. I just want to back that up just because, I know only, people are very, very interesting at this world. Where you go say, what's I pull your own study? So I just opened something, the Center for Disease Control. says that some studies show that drinking 3 or more alcoholic drinks per day increases the risk of stomach and pancreatic cancer. And there's also evidence that drinking alcohol increases the risk for prostate cancer.
And breast should be there.
All alcoholic drinks, including red wine, white wine, beer, liquor, are linked with cancer. Information is power, right? A big problem in Sierra Leone is a lack of knowledge, right? That we just live by the grace of God. And where you get information, you self able sit down to yourself and think, say, sometimes not to overnight transformation in a cause, but once you have the knowledge, right? You they live. It brings a state of awareness,
and which is what's necessary.
Yeah, and then eventually you go begin to you say, okay, sometimes like you do span this thing small because I not be know. So for example, I used to smoke shisha, okay, not to think what they do like some kind of crazy way, but what been a can salon because. You know, I go sit down with some of my Lebanese family there. You know, we drink that coffee. You know, it was vibes.
Social.
I was catching cruise.
No, that's the one thing even with drugs. You social network.
Me na person way. I not been a drink. I not been a smoke. So I begin to smoke shisha because it was just like I thought it was safe, right? Yeah.
Where you get butter. That is, and you know the one thing, I don't know if that because, okay, asabi, like, maybe I don't really don't understand. When I go out, where I can see young, small picking and they smoke shisha, I can just wish, like, how can I help these and, like, just tell them, because I don't go out to actually tell them they say for stop. Obviously, I'm going to just look me with the eye and say, but it better you come up with shisha. It's one
because
thing.
Since that 10 days, me not the kind person where... Your sister won't live long.
Who doesn't?
No. I want to explain to you. I want to live long, and I don't want to go lay down at hospital. First of all, Asabi, how all the hospitals in Tana this country, from Kenya to Bo, I don't go inside them myself. My biggest fear in this world, now for lay as sick, then get for put me in a hospital. So me na person way like. So I was smoking shisha. I thought it was cool. I go make video. I make slow motion. So sexy, so nice. And I Googled shisha, and I found out that shisha long-term use leads to impaired pulmonary function, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, esophageal cancer, gastric cancer, short-term hookah use associated with acute health effects, increased heart rate, blood pressure, carbon monoxide intoxication. Me sister, I get at myself quick, right? Because me not pussy, I know they smoke cigarettes, right? But one of the problems with shisha is that, okay, like one cigarette, for example, we they smoke one cigarette, now 5 to 7 minutes. Me know they smoke cigarettes. And then you go do 8 to 12 puffs. And per that, you get 40 to 75 millimeters of smoke per puff, right? But when you smoke shisha, now 20 to 80 minutes, because you sit down slowly. Now, like
it's very social.
Yes, not to tea where you rush for do, right? So 20 to 80 minutes. Now you sit down, they smoke the shisha, taking 20 to 200 puffs in that period, right? And 0.15 liter of smoke per puff, which is the equivalent of inhaling 100 or more cigarettes per session.
What?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't smoke shisha.
So, my sister, I say, not to think. Wait, see, let me tell you something. It was literally day and night.
I just don't think of something. I think you can use the foundation. We do education on shisha. Especially
no, because anytime where they come out in salon now, especially all man they smoke shisha. All man they all side. All man they smoke shisha, right? But now like people don't act. People that way know they smoke cigarettes, and because my thing was, this is the misperception that I had, was that shisha was better for you.
Yes.
Because it's not cigarette. What we have here for cigar smoking, I don't want to scare anybody. but like lung cancer and heart disease are
Anything with smoking,
Right.
no, it's lung cancer.
they're not a safe alternative to cigarettes. I think some people sometimes think that
Because they don't inhale it.
Yeah, in women, it's risk of infertility, stillbirth, and low birth weight, but also mouth cancers. Cigars, I mean, that's what the internet says. So I think the big issue in Sierra Leone, one, is regulation, right? So we have an issue with regulation, but we also have an issue with education, right? If the information not, as you did grow up, right? For example, we would go to school in America, you know, from high school, 9th grade, meaning Form 3, you know, we had a health class. Part of the education in health class was educating you about
All of
substances, right? So alcohol, weed, legal alcohol, illegal alcohol usage, et cetera, et cetera. And then even before you get your driver's license in America, right? You get to go through driver's education. And a big part of driver's education back now for educate you about the impact of alcohol and drugs on you decision making where you dey drive. Because then find out, say, most of the accidents, the motor car accidents where they happen in the country, now because people in they drive under alcohol influence, even marijuana. The problem with marijuana is a lot of people then feel to say, like, usa smoke and a day left, right? But in a day now you system, right? Over a day, sometimes depending on the amounts where you use, and you not go conscious of the level of impairment where it do you function, impairment to your functions the way they cause. And then, of course, like other things here, like drugs and alcohol in Sierra Leone, is that it's so easily accessible. It's so easily accessible. And Dr. Ali, as you've said, in an environment where all the existing, like, you know when I can say, like, if you light fire now, so it go blaze because gas already there inside. It's like salon.
The stage is set.
Yes, the life where they live in a salon, the social conditions then already, it's like, we all within IASO, they live with some kind of trauma, right? Either from the war, this, that, poverty, just the everyday struggle of life. Then, and that makes us, all of us, like,
Vulnerable.
yeah, vulnerable to mental health issues, right? So any substance we can bind pandande now, we create any kind of, it's so easy to abuse, so easy to be dependent. Mawa, what do you think, what are your hopes for the kind of impact that your organization can make towards offering psychosocial support or mental health support to people dealing with addiction or mental health issues?
Well, the initial is obviously bringing the awareness, which I think that's what's most important. And just to encourage folks to talk about it. Because there's one part of, sure, you're an addict, but if you don't accept that you're an addict, then you'll never talk about it. You never think it's okay to talk about it. And it's really to also create this space and environment where you know that you're not alone. Because most times we tend to assume that these issues are isolated.
Yeah, I mean, one green.
But they're not. I mean, you'll be amazed the folks that you see every day on a daily basis. Again, like I said, you go meeting, you say this person look, but you're not even noticing they deal with deep within. And sometimes it's just, it's breaking that cycle. Let's talk. It's the beginning. Because once you have the courage to accept that you have this condition or that you need this help, then we can find ways of creating the avenues for you to seek proper help elsewhere. Because sure, you come to Nali, we have a conversation, we talk about it, now you've unpacked. How are we gathering you? This is where I am really looking forward to collaborating externally as well with individuals in the space who can provide that service of packing. Because the aftermath is what's important.
Yeah.
There's one thing about you come, you don't talk, you don't left, all in, but now you don't release.
Yeah.
How are we regathering you?
Right.
That's the next, for me, that's the real impact. Because once you're able to gather yourself again, you could reintegrate in society much better.
Right.
You may still be dealing with these issues, but you're dealing with them differently.
Right. You have the tools.
You have the tools,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So if a woman's dealing with whatever, not just addiction, I mean, we deal with so much. You don't care, you don't talk. That's it, Abel, okay. I don't hear it. Thank you for Kanya talk. I'm just as
Thank you for your talk.
Exactly. Now
Are you kidding me?
Exactly. I now have the responsibility to guide you down this path.
Right.
Okay, you know it's in low offend this person you go talk to. Let's talk to this therapist. Let's talk. For me, that's really, and it's just really about breaking that cycle. I mean, imagine when we were talking about Vickie, the symbol around Nali, the whole Mataudo. I mean, back in the day, that's what we know. Women go now. Then they talk them business.
Yes,
Hey,
you
you
go
believe
una sing, una
yes,
this,
like
una
for me,
that.
that's really what
Yeah.
I want to create.
That's
That
good.
community
Right.
that you know that you're safe. Like anytime you talking a day they left. Like we don't beat that casada leaf, or don't cook or don't eat or don't done. That
Yes.
talk or dog, it don't done. You know.
Yes.
And I feel like that's what really I want Nyali to be. Again, that's why it's been a really slow start.
Of course.
And it's super deliberate because it's not just another, okay, I'm here in
Right.
this space. Like,
Right.
I want to be as far behind
Sure.
with Nyali as possible because I don't want to be the face of Nyali.
Sure.
It is not my story.
Right.
I am just providing the space and the avenue for individuals to
So
be.
that's what India is doing. They call it the friendship bench
Okay.
in the communities. So you know they have this large population,
Yes.
not enough doctors.
Of
or
course.
whatever.
Of course.
So they create they call it friendship bench. You can look it up where the grandmas, like in olden times, the grandmas are the ones we all look up to. They get to all secrets.
Yeah, storytelling.
Yes. So you go to the grandma, you talk, and most of these issues, it's just about talking, about encouragement, and
That's it.
you prove
You're not alone.
you're not so like just what she's saying. That's a very good idea. Like this matter will do. Una go, una talk. If not like that big cook, they sit down, they cook. All man talking story, they eat. That's alone. It's a long
Brings
long
joy.
way.
Yeah. No, I think a key, as you're thinking, as we're talking, like both of you have brought up this theme of like pre-existing social coping methods, like mental health, because I think one of the biggest issues with mental health is the stigma and the belief that we or misperception that we as Africans will not get mental health issues. Now with man,
And do they do
them,
am?
Now it's
them-
man sick.
now with man.
It's not do they don't do it. They don't like it.
On a money man
Yes,
sick.
now when you be full, now that make you remember about therapy and diseases. But the reality is that in our traditional and customary pre-modern life, right, we had coping mechanisms for everything. And as we urbanize and modernize, we lose the social networks and traditional ways of coping with things. Sometimes there not be no say, there not be no the science of, there not be no the why, right? Why this thing is good for this. But you go say, they feel this way, then go say, well, go na bush, go pick this. And there's this thing of like, then later on you learn that certain kind of physical activity, they ease stress, right? But you go look at like for say, hey, then send the person, then say like punishments, then send a like go pick all this, etc. But actually, what they were trying to do from a science perspective is get the person to do something physical because the brain will
active.
release a hormone that will ease their stress. When I was so during the pandemic, I had to go to therapy because I was doing first responder work here in Sierra Leone, and it really messed with my mental health. And I was in therapy for a year, and then after that, I also started. I had a personal coach because I really needed a lot of help. And one of the things she taught me was just about how our nervous system works, right? And how we not understand that the nervous system is what helps to balance us out. So little things that just from conversation that I learned was the importance of physical movement in making you feel well or safe, or the importance of a 30-second hug right? For a person just hold you, hug you for 30 seconds, how then they release hormones in your brain where they increase your states of wellness, right? Simple things like that. So I'm one of those people who, like, always, I do mental health checks where I'm like, how am I feeling today? Because sometimes also you just need to get that, like, self-awareness for, say, I am physical and I'm mental in my existence, right? The difference between physical and mental is that, pan the physical, you go see something, right? But with the mental, you can actually get into the habit of checking with yourself. Because sometimes they feel off, right? But you don't know waiting make you they feel off. You don't really get like the aware. You're just like, I know. But then they push you self for continue, for be social, for interact. But really, you're not doing well. You're not sick physically, but mentally, you're not okay. So doing mental health checks, like, how am I really feeling today?
It's okay to not be.
Yes,
okay.
like, how am I feeling? Do I want to get out of bed today?
Exactly. And I think that is so important. So I did with Plan International, with their women's group, we had the session. And for me, I always ask, how are you? Not tell me, say I'm fine, but really, how are you? Dig deep. And I always end with, write yourself a letter, tell yourself how you're doing. Because sometimes we're quick to say, oh, I'm okay. Oh, all is well. Oh, and that's a question that I tend not to ask quite often because I'm sometimes not mentally prepared.
Right, for
to
hear
how you are.
Of how you do, yeah.
Because we're quick to say, like, and that's a question that I feel like we should really, like, answer genuinely.
Yeah.
Like you rightly said, I wake up some mornings, I'm like, today, I know they come on a beach.
I'm not able.
And
like,
I
just
don't.
not able.
I do not leave
I'm
my
not
bed.
able.
Like,
I'm
not
not
they make a commodity.
I'm not able.
And I feel like it's important to know that. Like, it's where you know, so you're not okay.
Yeah.
And not okay in the sense that not okay to be around others.
Yes,
it's perfectly okay.
Yes.
Like,
the cup empty.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay for it to be interpreted that you're moody, you this, but you
yes.
take care of you. Like, be that selfish. We
Yeah.
have to be that selfish with ourselves. Other else, we're just, if we're not, then we're just compounding issues where you then bring it to others, and then person can greet you. You flare up, but they're not going to understand. Me, when I go to the office, I tell them all my issues I left at the door. I no one really, we're not here. Oh, me this, that. I understand. It's not, I get it.
Yeah.
But
Not
because if you're not okay, it's okay to also stay home. It really is.
No,
you know?
absolutely. Dr. Liu, as we close out the conversation, if there's somebody where they watch this show right now and they think, say, either you get pikin, we get mental health or substance abuse issues, or you realize, say, as they reach here, they say, so 1 pint making take-o, I don't reach them 4-5 per day. What can they do today by way of getting support? Not to for stop today, because I know, say, addiction not to teen, now lifelong, some people then every year then they celebrate, say, 1 year sobriety, 2 years sobriety for the rest of their life. Then just they take and say, me na addict, right? I may not be using right now, but then they live with the awareness, say, I can relapse at any time. So then they live life in a way where they know, say, I'm not going to do this. Time. Yes, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, because if I do this and that, it will lead me for a relapse. But for the people who are watching at home today and listening to this conversation, what can they do if they feel like they're at risk of, or they're dependent, or they're abusing it, or have someone in their family that they're abusing? Where can they go for resources? Uda then go call Naya outside and can go Uda then for tell. Waiting Una as the psychiatric hospital na salon. Wait, na one green psychiatrist we get, but now I'm so glad, there's more of almost now in a psychiatrist in the country.
So now we get 2 consultants from Nigeria. We get Dr. Charlotte, and also we get Dr. Sivali.
Okay.
We'll get like 7 residents then.
Okay, so it better, because when we been small na Naim Kadi. What's doing?
Yeah, you get Dr. Naim.
Yeah, you don't retire now, not so.
Yes, you don't retire. Interestingly, you can go once a week or twice a week.
Yeah, but we thank him for his service, because
30 years plus.
Can you imagine? Now you want going to all the mental health issues now you aid. Like,
so it's okay to be not okay.
Right.
So people need to understand that. And I think one thing we all should go on with today is like you should know yourself. I'm so happy like what Uma was saying, like I know I'm common a bit and
I'm not able.
So I think we
Though some people can go say, now we get her. Me, if I not come on a bed, I know they eat
that's the problem.
Right.
Because even if you don't have the money, even when you go there, you go to your issues and your attitude.
Yes.
And sometimes at the end of the day, when you go for self, you need to be able to get them because you already get your own problem.
You're not in a state of wellness.
So the thing is, it's knowing yourself and setting boundaries.
Okay.
Like, this is me, I can't continue like this. And yes, we need to create safe space. We don't have them. That's the truth of the matter. And I'm happy her foundation is doing that. I just wish other people can create the space. Right. And we need to be friends and sisters, for heaven's sake. You know me for say if you can't tell me, I for being the broadcast.
No, I'm not going to tell you. They're not put on a face.
That's the reality. So you need, if you want to make person keep your secret, you self begin keep your secret. I think it starts with you.
Absolutely.
And yes, if you realize like someone have alcohol issues, drug issues, come with them to the Sierra Leone Psychiatrist Hospital. That's Kissy, Black Hole Road.
Other side no they way then go we na Kissy no more then go.
Kissy is the only mental home.
So no, what I'm saying is, I guess it's that if I didn't outside now. Most people are not go. First of all, there's this stigma of going to Kissy.
I totally
At the
understand.
primary healthcare level, right? If I have an issue of alcoholism or drug abuse or whatever, na Kissy no more we go.
Interestingly,
Yep.
That's the honest truth.
That's the only
No,
path.
Papa, government una go need for try for we. No, that's unacceptable.
So Kissy is the only like mental hospital
Sure.
for Sierra Leone.
Yeah, but una not get like units.
No.
So no, you have Connaught, where one of the consultants normally is. But
Okay.
it's only 1 day a week
Wow.
at Connaught.
Okay.
Then at 34, there's
Okay.
also a mental health
Sure.
unit.
So,
and at
but what's
Stream.
that about Kenema Government Hospital?
So,
Bo Government Hospital.
so the clinics are
McKinney Government Hospital.
So most of the government hospital, they only have like this focal nurse.
Like a mental health focal nurse.
Yes, but they don't. You don't have like. We're still working on all of that, like to have units.
Government.
It's a work in progress.
Hey.
So, come back to my question. If you have anybody, you come to Kissy.
Okay.
We'll talk the good thing, Kissy is not like what you think. Honestly, Kissy is one of the cleanest hospitals in Freetown.
No, I no doubt so. I no
and
doubt.
it's one of the most peaceful places.
Of course,
So-
I no doubt that.
So
I no
you can
doubt that.
come, and
Yeah.
interestingly, Partners in Health took over the hospital. They are the one helping us. with
Shout out to
drugs.
PIH. Thank you for all the great work you do in
they
Sierra
did the
Leone.
refurbishment. So
Okay.
like,
Wonderful. Okay.
Kissy is like state of the art. It's not
Okay.
like the
Yeah,
usual
but if I
hospital.
probably get time, I probably can visit now.
No, obviously it's not like even I will tell you as a doctor, it's way better than even Connaught. I'll tell you that.
I wouldn't be surprised. I've been to Connaught.
Because Partners in Health, they like refurbished the whole of the hospital and they took over like.
And rest in peace
patient-
to Paul Farmer.
Yes, he did a very
He
good
really
job.
did. I was really sad to
And
hear that he had passed.
He's giving us they're giving us the medication, and now it's not just the whole medication.
Yeah.
It's the
Updated.
the
Right.
medications they're using in the US. That's
Fantastic.
what they come in with.
Fantastic.
Yes, all the state of the art medication.
And it's free?
It's free. Kissy
Okay.
is free.
Yeah.
Like my unit also for children, it's free. We have psychologists.
Do you
So
have a
don't-
number? What's a number that one could call?
I not get a hotline number.
Oh, they in PH have, I think, Google it. They
Okay,
have
Google.
hotline.
Okay,
for,
PH mental health
yes,
hotline.
Yes,
Yeah,
PH
okay.
mental health.
Yeah,
And it's free. And we have psychologists. So it's not about taking medications or seeing doctors. So there are
Talk
psychologists. We
therapy.
have clinical psychologists that PH came in with. Even at the child unit, we also have a psychologist that speaks with the children. So we're moving.
Okay, yes, they did. This 2023 May,
Yes.
PI launched Sierra Leone's first mental health helpline. We recognize, and I think that's important to say, addiction is a mental health problem. Drug addiction, alcohol addiction, sex addiction, well, not for this show, Shisha addiction, any kind of addiction, a mental health problem. So if you are currently suffering with any kind of mental health issue, or you're not even sure, because sometimes like some people waiting and thinking a mental health problem, now like
Now they work on it.
psychotic, right? They feel like if I'm not psychotic, I
I'm
not
fine.
get mental health issue. But people need to understand like anxiety, even some kind of stress, depression, sadness, even sometimes if they go through physical abuse, then they can also cause mental health issues, emotional abandonment. Like there's so many ways. So if you just feel like, way to check yourself every day, normal, you day in a state of like down, right? Call 5116 because then, and you can tell that what you they feel and what you they think, then go able now connect you for say, okay, based on what you say or what you they feel, na so for do or go na ya so or let me connect you with this kind of service, not so?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much for listening and tuning in on today's edition of the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast. I hope that everyone who watched this, if you take nothing else away from this conversation, you learn that one, addiction is a mental health issue and it is a brain disease. Whether it's alcohol or Kush or cocaine, ecstasy, anyone now, it is a brain disease. If you're a person who knows someone who's suffering from addiction or they're a member of your family, the person cannot help themselves, right? And no amount of like talk where you go talk pana, alapanam, bitam, tayam paro, because people do all kinds of things, is going to fix that brain disease. They need to get professional help. The other thing is that, at the end of the day, we all are human beings. We're physical, we're psychological beings. And so just like how your body can sick, anybody in brain can sick. And so addiction really can happen to anyone. And anyone can also have mental health issues. You shouldn't be ashamed or afraid to seek out support or resources. And sometimes, not to say you pull stay on, it's simply that like, sometimes even for grap na bed if you're not able, like your body able, but the mind is unwilling. So give yourself some empathy, give yourself some grace, give yourself some kindness, because it is bigger than you. And should you need you have any questions, Seth, but you feeling your emotion, your psychological well-being, please call 5116 or visit the Sierra Leone Psychiatric Teaching Hospital at Kisi, where you can meet people as amazing as Dr. Elizabeth Aliyu. We don't teach me so much here so today. Thank you so much to my two guests, Mahawa Sandi and Dr. Elizabeth Aliyu. This is the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast, and I'm your host, the most excellent, the most beloved, the one great person at the whole country. We not get haters. We all man, where they wake in the morning as they remember me, then just they feel good, but then self. Vickie Remoe. If you've loved today's conversation, don't forget to share it on your social media channels with your friends and family. And if you think that other people outside of your social network need to learn about the Make Sierra Leone podcast or today's conversation, don't forget to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, AudioMac, or Spotify, or wherever you stream your favorite podcasts. Today's edition of the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast was recorded live in Freetown at VRNT Marketing Studios. On camera 1, we have our multimedia producer, Augustine Cargbo. On camera 2, we have production assistant, Alassane Lamine Cargbo. No relation to Augustine Cargbo. The Cargbo then just Bokuna we country. Our sound engineer and co-producer for today's show is Franklin Bob McEwen. Until next time on the Make Sierra Leone Famous podcast, this is Vickie Remoe.